Hey all, and I'm going to be talking through a few things that you can be doing between events and then giving some tips and advice on these features. So to start with, we have the Legend Trials. So this is quite an important feature for those who want to work on their GVG defense. It's important not to take on the normal gold bosses and only fight the Corellian ones once you have enough tokens. I'm going to fight a silver boss here and show you a few teams I've made up for these. Now you do want to make a team for each boss. I know that takes a bit of time, but it saves a lot of work if you do that. So all of my silver boss teams have a legend as the lead. For example, here we have Dogen as the lead card. This makes it considerably quicker to get through the bosses. And then for the gold bosses, I have one of these old Gen 2 legends that you sometimes get the rewards from during the event. Again, that makes it a lot faster to defeat the bosses. So since this is Earth, let's scroll across. This is also for the towers as well. I'll talk a bit more about that a bit later on. So this should be really quick. With Ray as the lead card, all I need to do is make 2 attacks on the enemy and then it's defeated. So firstly anything, and then sometimes just using Ray's battle skill will win the battle. There we go, you can see the armor's down already. Yeah, there we go. This is by far the fastest way to beat the silver bosses. It will save you a lot of time if you prepare in advance with teams for all of the bosses. Doesn't really matter which one you fight though, they all give generally junky rewards, but occasionally you will get gems from these. But there we go, that's a silver boss. I don't have enough tokens for a gold boss, unfortunately. But what I can do instead is a Legend Duels boss. You need to check which items you need before you take on one of these bosses, as they do give different items. I'm going to just try Dogen, I think, here. I know I still need the materials that you can get from Dogen. So I haven't made up any specific teams for these bosses. These are just generally best fought with your best cards, or best card should I say, since it's a one-on-one battle. So let's find a suitable team for this boss. There we go, this is a good one as I have Heretic Hunters as the lead card. So here we go, I need to battle boost this as it is quite difficult. Right. And this card is actually one of the best cards that I have for these bosses. The card spawns a lot of power gems plus has a self-damage boost, you can see here. It should take care of the boss relatively quickly, but I'm still going to need to grind it down, so hopefully it won't take too long. Plenty of power gems here though. Yeah, there we go, taking care of the boss nice and quickly. But yeah, you want to test out your cards and see which ones are best against these bosses. Heretic Hunters, though, is extremely good against Dogen, like you just saw. Moving on to the Expedition Towers, I don't normally focus on these when there's a Slayer event coming up. There's no real benefit from this. But when there's a Commander event coming up, the minimum you really want to get to is the 4.1k with the extra keys. The Crusade keys are relatively difficult to get in decent amounts now, mainly due to the new ultimates. So what I'm going to do is take on one level of the hard tower and show you the team I have made specifically for this. But yeah, those keys are really important, so I highly recommend playing this when there's a Crusade event coming up. For Slayer though, it doesn't matter, it really doesn't matter. Keys are very easy to get there. But this team is by far the fastest for these out of the teams I've made up, so here we go. The reason this is fast is quite simple. You have Steel Force. When you use its battle skill, it just takes care of the enemy in one hit. Just bring up the battle skill. You can see unleashes a copy of this hero's strongest attack this battle. So, yeah, to start with, just use the other cards. Do any move, and then for the next two waves, you could use the two Steel Forces. Well, two as I took an ally card that had Steel Force, as you probably saw. But yeah, this is definitely the fastest way, or one of the fastest ways, to beat the towers. There are other methods that use similar methods to this. For example, the Druids, I believe, has a nuke skill, Old Earth Slayer card. Hopefully you know which card I mean. But there we go. That's the fastest way, or one of the fastest ways, to defeat the towers. I also only recommend focusing on the hard towers unless you have a lot of time spare. The hard towers are where the main rewards are from in order to get enough points or whatever it is to get the keys from here. But there we go, that about covers the towers or expedition. So the next thing that's kind of important is to prepare your teams for the next event. I know that the teams are improved if you get the ultimate form for the current event, but you can make up some templates, then add or swap cards in mid-event. It takes a lot longer to make up a full team during the event, and it makes sense to prepare in advance. So the next event is actually a Dark Commander event and Noble Killer. So you can see here I've made up a Crusade and Bosses team. Then I've started work on an Ultimates team as well, but this may be changed as I progress. You also want to level up all of the cards to max if you can before the event starts. It will save your time and make it a bit easier. Then try and level up your relics as well if you can. All of the relics here are max level, so this next event should be pretty fun actually. I have a decent team before I even get the event deck. One other thing that I think is important is to go through your cards and sell any junk cards or cards you don't need anymore. If you play the campaign or Spire, you will generally pick up a bunch of totally useless cards. You can either use these to upgrade other cards or just sell them. You can see them here. If we scroll down a bit further, you can see some cards here as well that don't really have too much use. I tend to keep 2 copies of cards like this. These are old 3-star delay cards. You can see here, slow for 2 turns. These are very useful in GVG and sometimes events as well. 1 turn cooldown and 2 turn delay. So yeah, I keep those. But cards like this, for example, these don't have any use anymore. I might as well just sell. So I'm going to sell a few of these. Old Warden there, card that's useless there. There we go, those 8 can be sold, no real use. I also think these 3-star support heroes, if you can't evolve them, you can see here I need the Earth Evolution Stones, and I don't have any, so there's not really much I could do with this card. I don't have too many daily dungeon coins either, so I might as well just sell this. It's unlikely I will be able to evolve it in the future. Doesn't really have too much use. You may want to keep these, but I think just sell them, get rid of them. There's a card here as well. I think I might... No, I can't evolve it either, so I'm going to sell this one. But yeah, I just do this with the 3-star support heroes. The main heroes I could generally evolve. But you may also want to evolve some of these cards just for dust. If you're low on dust, then yeah, you're going to need to sell a few old support heroes or main heroes. But there we go, that's the basics of what I do for sorting out my cards. The final thing I'm going to talk about is GVG Practice. If you've obtained some new cards recently, it's well worth testing them out in GVG, or new decks, should I say. Here's a deck I don't use that often, but it is quite strong. So I think what I'll do here is have a practice with this deck against my own GVG defense. This is what the deck looks like. You can see here, all pretty strong cards. And then the relics. I have my lovely Lance of the Endless. This is always really useful. Because this is on the team, Toxin will be counted 100% of the time, and then my best relics. If you have a look at the Dragoon, you can see this has the Toxin counter on it. This is the main reason I went for this Dragoon, if I'm being honest. Now my defense is not exactly super good. I mainly focus on attack over defense, but there's a couple of tricky wardens in there. If you're not paying attention, you may fall for this defense. The first card, this one has Defender Skill Toxin. It also has a surprisingly high amount of attack as well. You can see it has double the attack of this card. So yeah, if you don't check my defense carefully, you may fall for that and mess up, as the power is only 83.5k. Anyway, let's get on with this. Right, so here we go with the practice. Now this team is mainly used to take care of 6 pink Star Wardens. It's all focused on dealing damage. I have another attack team that's used for dealing with tricky defences. This team will have major problems against something like Power Gem Silence or Gem Silence. So that's something to take note of. But against my own defence, it should breeze through it without too many problems. Yeah, against the bigger wardens, just use all of the battle skills. I'm not using this battle skill though, since it has a 6-turn cooldown, you can see there. Now Birthright Weaken is a tricky defender skill with this team, but I can just wait out the weaken. Plus this team does have a revive on it because of the GVG relic. So yeah, you can see it's not the best team for this sort of defence. I would normally use a defence with Iria, but this is just to test out the team and show the damage more than anything. The enemy warden doesn't exactly hit hard, or should I say my own warden. But yeah, my team is way better than my defence, my attack team. My defence does need some serious work. The problem nowadays is the only wardens really worth having are 6 pink Star Wardens. Anything else is basically useless. And that's kind of a bad design with the game. The 4 or 5 pink Star Wardens should actually have a use, but no, they can be defeated way too easily. But yeah, we're nearly through my defence. This final warden shouldn't be too much of a problem. It's only 2 pink stars, and nowadays that's basically nothing. Let's see if Metaverse was enough on its own. Yeah, you can see I took off half the health, and that was a really bad hit. So if I go and use all of the cards, it will totally smash it. Well, it should do anyway. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, that's just a practice with this team. Get a bit more of a feel for this team. Of course, it won't kill that many defences, but it's pretty decent against a defence like my own. And if we quickly practice again, the team I normally use is the team here. It has defraggers. This can remove the enemy buffs and debuffs. That's always useful. And then area as well. That removes debuffs. Also has that supercharged boost, used to boost up the defraggers. So this team is useful against a defence like my own. Then this is the heavy hitting team. But there we go. I think we're about done with this video. Hope that was helpful, and thanks for watching.